And it's my honor to introduce the captain of the Membership Action Plan Initiative, Rotary International Director for Zone 33 and 34, Jeremy Hurst. Jeremy, take it away.
Thank you so much, Andy. Greetings, fellow Rotarians and Rotaractors, and welcome. Today, you showed up for a little membership magic. And as we know from watching Harry Houdini, Siegfried and Roy, David Copperfield, or perhaps their very own president-elect Stephanie Yurchik, that only happens when you intentionally and meticulously craft a plan. So whether you're a seasoned leader, new to leadership, or just passionate about your club's future, this webinar promises to illuminate the transformative power of intentional goal setting, specifically in relation to membership growth and engagement. In other words, it's not magic, but what you create by doing so may well be. You'll also find that what you learn today applies beyond and to other aspects of your personal and professional Rotary lives. Professional development and learning is such an important asset that we offer our members, and one that I've always valued personally greatly. But why set membership goals and development plans? Well, we all know that failing to plan is tantamount to planning to fail. And as far as I'm concerned, that is very much the case. But try to imagine your Rotary Club as a vibrant, colorful tapestry woven together by diverse contributions of its members. Membership goals serve as the threads that strengthen this fabric, driving our collective mission forward with purpose and cohesion. By setting clear objectives for attraction, recruitment, membership engagement, and retention, we're not only expanding our reach, but also we're creating greater experiences and enriching the lives of our members, prospective and existing alike. At the heart of effective membership growth, as well as all good planning, lies intentionality. It's not enough to hope to expand our ranks. We must strategically cultivate a culture of belonging and purpose. Intentional goal setting prompts us to assess our strengths, identify areas for improvement, and align our actions with the core values of Rotary, with our clubs, and our community, as well as aligning us to the priorities of our action plan. By nurturing authentic connections, fostering diversity, and empowering members to lead with passion, we lay the groundwork for not only a vibrant and resilient club, but also for lasting change in our communities. As we envision the future of our Rotary and Rotaract clubs, it's also essential to embrace a multi-year perspective in our membership planning. Multi-year goals provide us with a roadmap for sustained growth, guiding our efforts towards long-term sustainability and impact. And this continuity builds year-on-year momentum. By setting ambitious, yet attainable and realistic targets for growth, engagement, and sustainability, we lay the very foundation for our clubs and our communities, not just to survive, but to thrive. Not just for today, but for generations to come. This strategic pursuit of membership goals through intentional planning is more than a task. It's a catalyst for transformation within our clubs and beyond. As stewards of this remarkable organization, let us commit ourselves to this important pursuit driven by intentionality, innovation, and a shared vision for a better future. Together, let's unlock new possibilities, forge deeper connections, and elevate membership to unprecedented heights of impact and influence. Thank you for your dedication to Rotary and to Rotaract. Let's embark on this journey together, united in our pursuit of service, fellowship, and meaningful impact. And to guide us through how you can create membership magic by crafting a plan for success, let me introduce Mary Ligon, the current Assistant Rotary Coordinator and incoming Rotary Coordinator for Zone 34, and Sean Sawyer, current Innovative Club Advocate and incoming Assistant Rotary Coordinator for Zone 33. Mary and Sean, over to you.
Thank you, Jeremy. I really appreciate your introduction and lead off in that with your words tonight. As you heard, we're going to talk about membership magic, but the magic is in creating a plan. And so we're going to help you do that. We will explore with two successful leaders how they crafted a plan for success this year. You will hear specific bite-sized ideas, so be taking notes, to create your plan for membership magic in the upcoming year. Our format tonight is in an interview style where my co-host, Son Shawyer, and I will ask questions of our guest. We want you to also submit your questions, so be sure to put those in the Q&A feature of Zoom, and we will incorporate those toward the end of our time as we usually do. First, let's start with why. Why do we need to set goals and plans? Well, I did some research because you hear this all the time. I thought the research was pretty impressive. You are 75% more likely to achieve goals if they are written down. Also, if they are challenging but achievable, that will lead to better performance 90% of the time. And then weekly progress reports increase your success rate by 40%. All of that adds up to, if you will write down your goals, make a plan, and give or have regular progress reports, you are 72% more likely to achieve those. And along with having deadlines all throughout the process. So let's set our goals, have an achievable target, and a plan to achieve those. First, let's introduce our first guest. So I'm going to turn it over to Sean to do that.
Mary, thank you very much for doing that. This first gentleman who's going to be speaking with us this evening is David Long. He's a 20-year Rotarian, currently serving as the president of the Buchanan-Upshur Rotary Club in Buchanan, West Virginia, and beginning July 1st, will be District 7545's membership chair. He has had great results in growing his club as its leader, and we all plan to see him do the same thing at the district level, beginning in just a few short weeks. So David, welcome. Let's start with this. As president, what was your primary goal?
Thank you, Sean. When I became president, I shared with our club that I wanted to see our club grow. There was a previous club in Buchanan who had forfeited its charter, and when that happened, I knew, and a group of us knew, that we had to start a new club. I could recall the old club having, 60 to 70 members, and most of them were active members, weekly active members. And I knew starting a new club that I could see it growing to what the previous club was and what the people of our small community here in Buchanan were used to seeing with the Rotary Club.
So let me ask you then, how did you start developing and sharing your plan to accomplish those goals?
Well, Sean, I speak of membership at every meeting, and openly I encourage our members to talk about Rotary whenever they can, wherever they are, and like I said, I believe it's important to be seen in the community as Rotarians. Whenever we have events, we want our members to be seen out in the community. We have Rotary vests, we have shirts, we have badges. I think it's important for our members to be seen when we're out doing the work and the service projects and the different things that we're doing. And sometimes that opens the door for a conversation with a potential member, that may want to come and join our club.
Right. So you recognize the need to be present and visible because you believe those things will assist with your club's growth. So let me ask you, what other goals did you set and how did they become part of your plan? Or maybe asked differently, did your efforts involve attention on any aspects intended to strengthen your entire club and not just in terms of membership?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. A couple of other goals I had set. Our previous club had a relationship with the Special Olympics in West Virginia, and I wanted to rekindle that relationship. So we actually started a new relationship, with Rotarians working with the Special Olympics. They had the Special Olympics of West Virginia State basketball tournament here in our small town this year, and believe it or not, they'd never had a public service announcer for their basketball tournament. So I volunteered to be the basketball announcer, and other Rotarians came and helped in whatever was needed, even if it was just giving those special athletes a hug, if they made a layup or even if they didn't, they love their hugs. So, and I think this has put Rotary in our town back on the map and being seen again, working with the Special Olympics, and it's letting those people in our community see Rotarians at work again.
All right, David, I'm gonna get real honest with you. That's all fantastic stuff. And I'm so glad that your club had the opportunity to do that. But some of us have been there. I'm gonna guess it's one thing that the leader has to believe these things are important, but it could be quite another to get an entire club to buy into your vision. Did you implement any kind of survey or a similar tactic or technique to determine how your ideas would be embraced by the entire club?
Yeah, sure did, Sean. At the beginning of my year as president, I made a survey, a paper survey, gave to those who were in attendance at the meeting, and also emailed it out to the other members who weren't there that day. And believe it or not, when you send a survey, you never get a response from everybody. I actually got a response from every member. And then I shared those results back with the club, our strong points, our weak points, what we need to work on, what we need to build on, what may be okay with the club. And then I share those results periodically at meetings, like, hey, here's something that was on that survey and something that we said we need to work on or build on to make our club better, stronger, and bigger.
Right. David, that's all fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing just a few of the important elements involved in having led your club to those successes this year. And in fact, you've actually perfectly set up the next portion of our call. Andy has dropped a sample club planning template into the chat. And I will also remind everybody that there's already a fantastic club survey assembled and made available to all of our clubs through the Membership Success Center in MAP, accessed through DACDB. So with that said, I'm going to turn the mic back over to my co-host, Mary, so that she can move us forward toward the next angle that we want to use to show and discuss the importance of planning. Mary?
Thank you, Sean and David. That was great tips for us to hear. And I could tell that you'd been through a lot of those things we showed on the slide about how to increase your success with setting goals and plans. So let's bring in Don Harris into this conversation. Don is the current district governor for 6980 down in Central Florida. Through his leadership, the district has gone from a net loss of 8% last year to currently plus 10% as of May 1st this year. Don, what are some elements in your plan that were critical to success?
Well, thank you, Mary. There are several keys to the success that we've achieved so far. As David shared, though, being to articulate the why membership growth is necessary and is critical for Rotarians to engage. As I reflect on our journey, just like David mentioned, we crafted a vision for our district, and our Rotarians, from leadership to district staff to brand new Rotarians, embrace the vision. After addressing that why, or the importance or the impact of having continued membership growth, the other primary factor for our district was to lead by example. And we implemented a district membership action plan. Our plan really began with a membership, with a realization back in October of 2022 of the depth of our membership challenge.
Don, it really sounds like you're talking about basic leadership principles here regarding vision, understanding what the current reality is. If I have that right, what did you do to develop a plan?
Well, after we came to the understanding that we needed to do something radical, we, as a DG line, going back and forwards, developed our plan. We solicited and received the support from our College of Governors, from our district staff, including the District Finance Committee, Public Image Committee, from our membership committees to put together this plan. It included additional funding in the president-elect and leadership training programs, adding committee members to the Membership and Public Image Committee, beginning an integrated marketing campaign, and working on multiple fronts. We assign teams to help us support our clubs, especially our at-risk clubs, to help charter a new club, and to form impact clubs. As a part of the integrated marketing, we wanted to use billboards, social media, and YouTube to promote Rotary.
Well, that is great to hear the plans that you made as a district. And we have district leaders on here, so I hope they're picking up some tips for this. But for our clubs, we know that the magic of Rotary takes place in the club. So how did you translate this district plan into one where clubs like David's can develop and execute their own membership plan?
Well, just as important as a plan is to encourage your clubs and to get your members to fully engage. And you begin with the surveys, as David mentioned, club assemblies, having them look at their year-over-year results, helping them understand that attrition rates are real and how they must begin conversations about how clubs can be more intentional and implement better solutions for whether they need lead generation, onboarding of new members, or try to increase retention of their members. Providing our clubs with this tangible tool, this membership action plan template, was such a meaningful step to first help them get started to being intentional about their membership attraction, retention, and engagement. Also, delivering a consistent message throughout the year, beginning with a leadership training for our president-elects and all club officers through every district governor official visit, every district communications was critical to maintaining focus on our goals and try to help build a better culture of membership in the district.
Don, you also have an example of the magic of planning at the club level. Will you share that with us too?
Oh, that'll be my pleasure. This is a great example reflecting the power of planning, if you will, and just as important, engaging your club members. And this comes from my club. When I was president, we started what we call our annual planning meeting. Nothing magic about that, but it's basically a club assembly where we feature fellowship, food, fun, and facilitated conversation. We set up roundtables and have discussion guides who are the members of our board that have 10 to 12 key topical issues for our club members to review and discuss. Our first session was basically a SWOT analysis where we were analyzing our club's strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. This has evolved to an annual review of our leadership, our projects, fundraisers, programs, speakers, policies, even dues, etc. The power of this event is your club members, your fellow Rotarians, have a voice in your planning. When they understand that their voices are being heard and they witness club leadership integrating their opinions into the club plan, you have a very powerful team with you, working with you to help achieve your club objectives. At our first meeting, one of our significant goals was to work towards increasing membership from 33 to 75 members the next 3 to 5 years. We accomplished that in 22 months. Our club grew to 100 members in 5 years. A key component of this meeting is to make sure that the feedback you get from the members, you provide back to them in the collective voice within a month or two in another club assembly to let them know that as leadership, you heard what they said and let them know what your plans are. This type of event or any club assembly is a great way to implement your club's membership action plan using the template provided by the zone.
Oh, I think you just hit the nail on the head with planning works.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
So thank you, Don. Thank you, David. You have heard from 2 successful leaders that membership magic is based on goals and plans for more irresistible clubs. You have data from the MAP Membership Success Center that can help craft your goals and strategies for success. We've given you templates that we've referred to and dropped in the chat tonight that can be used to write down your goals and plans. And we have even provided the statistics that confirm the why you need to do this to be successful. So what additional questions do you have for Don or David or anyone else? We'll drag in the experts as needed. Do we have some questions?
Mary, there was actually one put in the Q&A. Sounds
Okay.
like it sounds like for David. David, if you wouldn't mind reviewing what it was that you said that you talked about doing to keep the membership visible each week in your club.
Oh, sure. Yeah. So if I can understand the question, when we're out doing service projects out in the community, we bought vests that have the Rotary on them, Rotary Club Buchanan Upshur. So we'll wear the vests when we're out doing community service, or our Rotary shirts if members have those. And it's important, I think, to wear those when you're out doing these projects so people can see that Rotary emblem. People can see that the Rotarians are out there, doing the work. And I think that's really important. And then when they do see that Rotary emblem, that may lead them to ask, hey, what is Rotary? And then we can explain what it is. We can invite them to a meeting or to sit down and give them the paper napkin version if you want to. And so that's what I think maybe they were referring to.
Okay, great. Thank you, David. So as a reminder, we do have a question about how do we access the templates. We've dropped links in the chat box to the club planning template, and you can also find those on the Zone website if you search for membership plan template. But the easiest way is going to be to check the chat box right now. I think it just got dropped in there again. And one other question I'll take before we move to the next one is, how do we obtain these shirts and vests? David, I think that was another example for you to answer. Did you have a source?
Yeah. We have a local print shop who is certified to print the Rotary logo, and we use them. So we'll just take orders when people want to get new shirts made, or they can go individually if they want to get one done on their own. So that's how we get the shirts and vests made. There is a local print shop who is certified to print Rotary items.
Great, thank you.
Mary, if I could add to that too, the Rotary has a complete list of certified vendors. So you can go to Rotary International and check for somebody in your area, or a lot of us use Russell Hampton in addition to our local vendors. So
yeah, Russell Hampton's a good one.
Yeah. So do either of y'all use a red badge system as part of developing and engaging the new members? We don't all call it red badge, but it's part of that bringing in new members and getting them oriented and involved in the community, in the Rotary Club immediately. Don, do you do that in your club?
Absolutely. That's something we, it's interesting in Rotary. You think you might start a new program. Maybe we restarted it, 14 or 15 years ago. But Red Badge is critical. You have a list of activities that the Rotarians, you want them to follow as part of their onboarding. So you want them to do the activities that get them engaged, get them on a committee, because when we lose new Rotarians, it's because we don't get them engaged. We would need them to get more engaged as sitting in the room during our meals or meetings. We want them to actually get on a committee and do different things like visit another Rotary Club, go to a district meeting, go to a board meeting. I don't remember all 5 or 6, but essentially that helps assign them not only a sponsor, but a mentor to help them get more familiar with the Rotary in the club.
Right. David, what about you?
We don't really have the red badge, as you say, Mary, but we do foster those new members into activities, and we encourage them. Our biggest fundraiser is a blood screening that we do several times throughout the year. And we encourage those new members to come and help at those blood screenings and see, what Rotary does or what we do when we're out doing these service projects. So we don't have an official red badge, as you mentioned, but we do very closely follow those new members and foster them along to help them grow.
Great.
Mary, if I could add to that, they're also on the Zone website. If you put in the search box of that fantastic engine that's been created, membership, you'll get all kinds of listing of tools that you can absolutely R&D, rip off and duplicate. The scavenger hunt, the roadmap. There's a little bit of a plug for MAP as well in there.
Yeah. And I think this is testing my memory, but maybe it was the February webinar that we did was on engaging new members. And if you can go back and watch that at any time, and there were resources added to the zone library around red badge activities that you can reference. So now here's a tough question. How do you avoid complacency in a well-established club? Don, I'm going to kick that one to you because David's is a pretty new club, but he can probably add some since they were an old club that lost their charter, and it might have been due to complacency. But Don, you give that a shot first, please.
That is a critical issue across the United States, across a lot of our districts. And probably the best thing, if you can help your club leadership and your club members understand, you really need to bring in new members. You have to put together a plan, because if you get too complacent, we're having great success in our district. We've got a 60-year-old club that's probably going to be shutting its doors because they've gotten old, complacent. They haven't worked the last 4 or 5 years to bring in new members. The best way to avoid that complacency is bring in energetic spark plugs, new young members that want to make an impact. They want to change the world. They want to put their mark on, helping their community, becoming involved in their community, and helping their clubs. So you have to bring in new members to avoid that complacency. You really do.
David, any additional comments on that? And if not, I got another question.
No, I think he hit that on the head pretty good. I shared a quick story with Sean though the other day. We were doing a blood screening, and we have a gentleman who's involved in a theater here in our town. And real quickly, as he was welcoming the people in, marking them off by name on the sheet, he was doing that in his theater voice or singing their name, and people were making comments about, wow, these Rotarians are having a lot of fun. We're not some sticky old club. And I think that's another important thing that may help avoid that complacency when they see that we're not some fuddy-dud club. We want to have fun and at the same time help our community.
Yeah, having fun's important. So how did you talk, in quotes, about membership at each meeting?
Yeah, I said I talk about membership. Maybe I should say I mention membership at every meeting. And I encourage our members every meeting to invite a friend to a meeting. Maybe not a prospective member, but they may turn out to be a member when they come to our meetings and they see what it is that we're doing. We're having fun, and we're not just a lunch meeting. We have fun at our meetings. But at every meeting, I mention membership, and I encourage our members to talk to people about Rotary and invite them to our club.
Right. Don, how'd you talk about membership?
I made it a part of my every official visit, from our pets training to the leadership assembly to the actual Vibrant Club workshop, a culture of membership. And it was just part of my comments, because we wanted everybody, of course, the presidents had heard it, but not every Rotarian got to hear it. We wanted them to understand why it is important that we grow membership. We really can't accomplish what we want to do in our communities or create hope in the world without hands to do it. So just talking through those stories, it's funny. Just recently, I had one club I was really worried about, and I had a really late club visit with them. But they're a small club, 15 members. They met in the lobby of a bank. And while we're talking through the impact Rotary has and what we do to help get rid of polio and why we need new members, and a lady in the drive-through of the bank wanted to know more about Rotary. I was cracking me up. She could hear us in the lobby of the bank. But so, we're just trying to make a culture of it. So we're always conscious. We're always intentional about, we don't want to add new members for members' sake. And we don't want to add the wrong kind of members. We want to make sure we have the right people that have the right servant leader heart to become a Rotarian, if you will. So we want to be very intentional about that, but it's just got to become second nature.
Yeah.
So
Grow more to do more, right?
that's correct.
It works. So, do either of y'all use mentors for your new members? And if so, how are they selected or trained? Not every club does that, but some do. Do either of y'all have an example with that?
We do not, Mary.
Okay. Don?
Our club has discovered, we used to try to have our sponsors serve as the mentor, but that didn't work out quite as well. Typically, it's better if because a lot of our sponsors, we have maybe a few, I'm talking about my club. There's 40 clubs in my district and they each handle a little differently. But in our club, we try to get someone else to be the mentor and work with them on the Reg Badge program. And sometimes they may be a member of the membership committee, quite often, but is how it works out. So they have somebody to go back to. If they have questions, they can still work with a sponsor, but someone to help them through the Red Badge program that's different from their sponsor, who might be a friend and really not a good mentor. They're a better friend than they are a mentor, if you know what I'm saying. So we tried to separate that.
Great. Anything else? Sean, you have any other comments, tips that you'd like to add?
I think Dawn mentioned what I might have added to that last question as far as an answer goes. It's in our club, there was a time when we had a trend where sponsors, all they were responsible for was bringing in the new person, standing up front, posing for the picture, pinning on the lapel, and then waving as they rode off into the sunset. And here recently with some, new continuity and leadership and some multi-year planning with visioning and things that's been going on in my club. Now you don't just get to wave goodbye once you bring somebody in. You're very much on the hook, so to speak, moving forward and encouraging that person and explaining to them what the value proposition is. It's not so much why you joined the club. I think it's much more important as to why you stay in the club. And to that, you have to find your own answer, but sometimes it's easier to find it if you're led by the right person.
Great. Thank you. Well, we have come to the end of our time tonight. We appreciate your attendance with us. I believe there may have been some additional questions in the chat. Hope those got answered by our team that was participating in that. And I am going to turn it over to Andy to wrap us up with this and let us know about what's coming up in June. Thank y'all for being with us tonight.
Thanks, Mary.
Thank you, Mary.
Thank you to David and Don, and I guess Sean too. Thank you all for sharing your words of wisdom regarding having goals and plans to achieve those goals. Now let's talk about our action item for the month of May. This month's action item is to report your strategies and actions to attract new members through June and maintain into 2024-25. You can report your club's completion of this action item at the link that was just placed in the chat. And if you have any questions regarding the awards program, please put them in the chat box as well. Our next MAP webinar will be the top 10 tips for membership growth. That'll be on Monday, appropriately June 10th at 6 p.m. Eastern. You can register for that webinar on DAC-TV and also at the link in the chat. Thanks for attending this evening, and we will see you for the top 10 tips for membership growth on Monday, June 10th.